feel like I'm not exactly the person who should be making this video, but I think it's still important, so here we are. Simply put, vaccines don't cause autism, mRNA vaccines can't change your DNA, and gain-of-function research isn't bad. Period. Quite a lot to dissect there, so here we are. Just for a quick preference here, I have a bare-bones experience in the field of microbiology. I'm an undergraduate in environmental engineering who's done some research in microbiology previously, and I have course experience in the field of microbiology. Please don't use this video as your only source of information. This is just a basic, bare-bones piece of information. I'll be providing some articles in the description to go over this, but most of this isn't scientific articles because no one looks at those, let's be honest. So please look at actual research articles on the topic, and hopefully you enjoy the video. Simply put, there is no scientific link between autism and vaccines. One thing to note, vaccines are given around the age that autism shows up within children. Also, there was one singular research article that was published by Andrew Wakefield in 1998 that shows theoretically that there is a link between autism and vaccines, and this article has been disproven countless times. There were 12 people in the study. The study was fraught with interpolations that are incorrect, extrapolations, unscientific models. It was a bad study that shows no actual evidence that we can use. He published this paper for financial gain alone, and this is a known fact. This has been proven time and time again. Period. Vaccines save lives. Vaccines and water treatment are the sole reason we have a high life expectancy. Period. Vaccines are a necessary part of our current modern life. Before the COVID pandemic, very few people had actually heard about mRNA vaccines. I think even fewer people even knew what mRNA is. Of note, mRNA means messenger RNA. It is a part of the transcription, translation, all of those processes that occur within cells. So pretty much, mRNA is the messenger of a cell. It is the thing that transfers information from the nucleus to the cytoplasm, and then assists in the forming of proteins. In this case, the mRNA is inserted into our arm, is uptook by cells, and is used to create spike proteins, which have no way to damage most cells. Then our immune system comes in and it wipes out those cells. So yes, it does result in cell death on a micro scale. Nothing bad. That's how our immune system functions. You infect something and, it gets sick and the cell dies. That's about it. There is no possible way for a human cell to transfer mRNA into DNA. It's not possible. It requires reverse transcriptase, which is only produced by certain viruses, mainly retroviruses. That is it. That is the only molecule that can produce reverse transcriptase and convert mRNA into DNA. So when mRNA enters into our cells, it cannot enter our genome. Period. In the process of working on this video, I did notice that mRNA was trending on Twitter, which pretty funny, not gonna lie. And upon further research, I realized that there is complete propaganda about an actual research article that suggests that COVID mRNA vaccines cause damage to the immune system and increase the risk of cancer. The reason this is noteworthy is there has been no evidence before this. However, there is evidence that COVID infections could do this. Theoretically, we have not done enough studies to prove this. And, funny enough, after reviewing the paper and looking at different views on Twitter of this who actually are informed on the subject, it actually looks like this paper being spread by conservatives merely suggests that severe COVID infection may cause this to occur. And theoretically, because the vaccine could simulate an infection, it might cause it. That's it. There is not this big thing about how it causes damage to our immune system or any bullshit like that. That's just not true. Period. And the paper does some hypothetical explanations as to certain biological pathways that could occur. However, it's very undetermined, and they're making some assumptions that really aren't the best. However, in the general sense, it is good to make certain assumptions, such as these biological pathways, so then we can further study them. So overall, I think it's a little clickbaity, but they were making some good points throughout. And I think the paper is, of course, good, and I think it's going to be an important part of our combination of research into COVID infections and COVID vaccines. I think it's very important, but there's some clickbaiting going on. One last thing I want to mention with this is shedding. I don't know. So, okay, viruses shed. And this can only occur with an attenuated vaccine. Okay. So attenuated vaccine says when you weaken a virus and you insert it into somebody's arm and your immune system goes and eats it. So they're not always the safest because they're not killed. They're just weakened. And so that's why it can still shed particles and cause infections in other people. That only occurs with attenuated vaccines. Spike proteins do not shed in this fashion, and they cannot spread from people. It has to be an actual virus particle, which is not formed by vaccine. So, COVID vaccines do not cause viral shedding, period. I feel like that's kind of just basic common sense. Whatever. Next section. Last but not least, gain-of-function research. Once again, another clickbaity term that has been hijacked by conservatives. So what is gain-of-function research? Well, simply put, it's when an organism acquires a new ability or function, usually due to human intervention, human experimentation that accelerates the process pretty much. This occurs in nature over a long period of time. However, we can shorten it using our technology pretty much. Now, understanding how certain dangerous pathogens function is very important. It helps us develop methods and models to prevent serious illness in the future. There are some issues, of course, with this, but I think that's something we should discuss, not something we should just be completely against. I think people are allowing their emotions to get in the way of actual logical thinking, personally. Now, an example of this gain-of-function research here in the U.S. is that we were able to recreate the virus that causes the Spanish flu. Now, this was done to know how bird flus could jump from a bird to a human, and then from a human to a human. Bird flus often jump from birds to humans, however, there's no human-to-human spread. And so, the Spanish flu did have this occur, and so they recreated it in an attempt to find the pathways that resulted in this occurring. And this is very important because if a bird flu were to gain the ability to once again jump from human to human, that would be very, very dangerous for our population as a whole. And so it's important to understand that pathway and know how to detect it for future damage, ways to damage this pathway and prevent it from occurring or spreading in the future, pretty much. Now, due to all this, I think personally that gain-of-function research is very important, and it helps us discover microscopic problems that don't yet exist. There are some obvious reasons to be against them, and I think we should have a discussion as to the good and the bad sides of this types of research. But there's just no evidence behind the motion that gain-of-function research created the COVID disease, or whatever. There's just no evidence of that. And it just doesn't make sense because coronaviruses are already a very well understood virus, and it's not that far-fetched to think in Wuhan, where we had a COVID lab, a coronavirus lab, and we knew there was coronaviruses in the vicinity, it's not that hard to assume that one of the viruses gained the ability to jump from human to human. It's really that simple. It's happened before with other viruses, so it's just not that far-fetched. And the scientific community also agrees with this. And even, by the way, if it was true, that would be China's fault. The U.S. was just helping research to prevent this from happening. It's just dumb. A lot of dumb stuff has been going on in terms of this information. So to sum up gain-of-function research, I think people's emotions are preventing them from thinking clearly on this type of research. And I think it's being clickbaited way too much, and people just don't understand the basic concept behind this type of research. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. This video has been in the works for a little while, as I have been going over my microbiology course lecture slides to make sure that all of the information I present is as factual as it can be. I went over a few research articles I had already read. It's just, some people would be, oh, it's far-fetched, you're reading research articles. I mean, I was already reading them for my class, but I link some below. The article I found on Twitter, I also link that, and so hopefully I provide you guys with enough information to back up the stuff discussed in this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Hopefully this video's reached a few extra people. I think it'd be pretty useful for it too. We'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.